Clans are my least favorite faction in Disciples. Not because they are weak or lack style, in fact it's quite the opposite, but when it comes to gameplay they are very straightforward. While others rely on some sort of trick like control, healing or simply heavy use of defense, clans withstand enemy hits and then fight back, hoping that they are stronger, which they are most of the time. On its own it's not bad, but the thing is, with such gameplay units don't actually bring anything new to the battlefield, which in theory allows quite a flexibility with party composition, but in practice it takes no time to determine the most optimal units and suddenly clans become quite plain. The second disappointment comes from the story itself, or rather from the fact that clans don't really participate in it. While others, preoccupied with the birth of a new god and the return of the dead one, clans simply gather collectibles. As for the loot, clans in general have lower initiative, and as a result they get hurt a lot, especially in the early stages. So once again, warrior loot is mandatory. Healing spell, while occasionally useful, is just not enough to keep HP full. King's God. Compared to other warrior heroes, he has 10 initiative less, but 40 HP and 10 damage more, which is not a bad trade-off in general. Yes, loss of initiative hurts in fights with enemy fighters, but at the same time against anything that has very high or very low initiative or simply has enough HP to survive till its turn, King's God is just better. Another big difference is that he's the only warrior who doesn't have fly, and while it should be a drawback, in fact it's a blessing. Clan's magic has two dirt cheap spells that eliminate movement penalties through forest and water. While on roads you already move faster than flying units, so no matter what, the main hero will be incredibly mobile on the map. Engineer on the other hand trades 10 initiative for 45 HP and apparently due to short legs loses 5 movement points. Once again, it's not such a better trade after all, cause he is still able to outpace enemy mages and support, which is a primary job for Archer, and additional HP makes him sturdier frontliner in the future. But as you remember, ranger heroes are in general the weakest one in the long run, with the only exception of Nosferatu. And finally Lore Master, with the same minus 10 initiative for 20 HP more. And here things become more complicated, cause on one hand he will always, or at least until he gets the first strike feat, act after enemy mages. But on the other hand, other mage heroes start to one-shot enemies roughly at the same time, so it's bad but not that bad. And against archers he's actually straight up better due to more HP. Also, one very important thing to say, his attack source is Earth, which is the best elemental damage type. Pretty much only units with Universal Ward are resistant to it. Moreover, we must not forget about clan support units. With a buff from Druidess or an additional turn from Alchemist, Lore Master makes sure that the opponent will not make it to the second round of battle. Now about the first strike feat. Many consider Lore Master the weakest mage, as he will not be able to outpace archers even with it. And it's true, but not quite. First of all, with Ring of Ages and a permanent potion he eventually will reach 61 initiative, which means he will have more than 50% chance to act before enemy archers. But, and here comes the interesting part, you most likely don't want it. In the campaign you will find Unholy Dagger, which effectively turns Lore Master into Nosferatu. The person healing is lower, about 25%, but when you are a Dwarven mage under Druid's buff, it's more than enough to have full HP after every attack. And actually for the same reason, which is Druidess, damage artifact is not mandatory, as you already will one-shot everything. Also, it's still good, especially if you prefer alchemists. And returning to archers, clans, due to the high HP pools, don't really have much problems with them anyway. Finally, lower initiative of Lore Master actually guarantees that he will act after Druidess, and that's exactly what you want. Another unique artifacts in clan campaign are Wicked Blade and Thanatos Skull. Blade is essentially a hex ring, but with a weaker effect of level drain instead of polymorph, while Skull has a chance to poison for 35 damage. There is not much use for both of them, also it's fun to bring the Capital Guardian down with double dot. Dwarf Champion, 150 HP, 30 damage and 30 initiative, which effectively makes him just a weaker warrior. Also, he has 5 additional movement points, which he probably stole from Engineer. All in all, he's good, fast and able to crush other road bearers. He and the Archangel are the best candidates for the Road Hero Challenge. Clan Thief has additional 50 HP and 10 damage for the price of 10 initiative and 5 movement points less. We'll be honest, movement penalty isn't pleasant, but in case of need, you can always kick him forward with a spell. At the same time, stat boost makes him the best duelist. He guaranteed to win against enemy mages, archers, all other thieves, and even low tier summons. Dwarf compared to Warriors of Legion or Undead has an additional 30 HP and 5 damage for 10 initiative penalty. And while the stat difference is similar to what heroes have, here it mostly brings pain. Warriors aren't primary target for enemy archers, at the same time you fight a lot of green skins who mostly have 40 initiative too. So all in all, the common to other factions tactic of using defense in the first round is pretty much unavailable here, which complicates HP management. On the bright side, 1-cell units are in general vulnerable to AoE damage, and here additional HP helps. After drinking enough beer, Dwarf turn into Warrior, getting a standard 50 HP and 25 damage stat boost. After this comes the choice. Most Warriors continue their military career and promote to Veterans, while some lucky one finally gets their letter from Hogwarts and turn into Dwarven Mages, who we will discuss a bit later. Veteran once again gets standard stat bonus and continue dreaming about becoming the Venerable Warrior. And he has since become weird, as apparently the old age starts to kick in. Venerable gets reduced stat bonus and as a result has only 5 HP more compared to skeletal champions, but at the same time the initiative penalty is still there. This effectively makes him the worst tier 4 warrior. Why was it made this way? Well, apparently to balance things around clan supports. But here the problem is, other units don't get the same treatment, and as a result warriors have a very hard time justifying their place in the party. And then comes another choice, to become the local clan king or rune master. One of the problems of the Dwarven King is that he costs an additional 1500 gold. And for what? 250 HP, 30 armor, ward to mind and water, his damage doesn't grow and initiative drops to 20. I believe in Rise of the Elves initiative drops only to 35, but to be honest it doesn't matter much. King is just a frontline ball, the only thing that he brings is tankiness, and for this initiative doesn't really matter much, cause enemies most likely will hit your hero instead. Clans have a very cheap armor spell, which when combined with a banner pushes King to 50 armor without any sweat. On top of it you can always use Staff of Protection and suddenly you have 70 armor monstrosity. Mind Ward ensures that he will have his turn anyway, while Water Ward is only useful against some dragons, clans and mermaids, and neither of those is your common enemy. So summarizing, stats are not even the real problem of the King, but the fact that it's a very expensive tier 5 unit. You can take 2 Kings, Lore Master and 3 Alchemists and be fine, but to get to his tankiness you will first need to endure a very long way, and by the end of it, it's not even that useful. Alternatively, Rune Master is more offensive version. 300 HP and 2 attacks for 65 damage each. Which means that once again, compared to Phantom Warrior, even without Paralyze, his stats are quite bad. 5 damage more, but 20 HP and 10 initiative less. All in all, tier 5 dwarves are the weakest among warriors, and only beat Infernal Knights, who are unfortunately only tier 4. But returning to Rune Master, the biggest selling point of double attack, apart from rare occasions when you can finish one enemy and strike the other one, is ability to bypass 300 damage limitation, and with druid support it's quite easy to reach it. Also, 2 attacks are mathematically less reliable when it comes to making full damage, but in case of Rune Master it doesn't really matter, so we'll discuss it later with Holy Imager of the Empire. By the way, it's unfortunately not possible to attack once and then press defense after. So returning to our Dwarven Mages, Mountaineer gets only 25 HP bonus and his damage drops to 30, but in return he now attacks everyone. So the good thing is that the penalty to initiative pretty much evaporates, as 40 is standard for every mage. Also he has almost double HP in comparison. But 15 damage less is quite a lot at this stage, so overall Mountaineer isn't a good unit. You pretty much go this branch only when you have access to tier 4, by itself it's not worth it. And then we again have a choice, while in reality there is no choice at all. Anyway, either Hermit or Wolf Lord. Hermit get an additional 25 HP and whooping 25 damage, which effectively means he has almost twice as much health as Pandemonius for the cost of only 5 damage less. But wait, there is more. He can also apply debuff that halves initiative, also the chance is quite low. About this debuff, turn order is determined at the beginning of the battle round, so it kicks in only on the next round. Not like it's bad, just good to know how it works. And overall this effect is very handy on clans. Enemies acts first, then clans, and then again clans thanks to Hermit. Very powerful and significantly helps to reduce HP loss. But wait, there is more. There is so much more. Hermit needs only 1000 experience to level up further. As a result, he has an enormous amount of health and the same damage as Modeusz. In theory, after level 10 when stat growth halves, Modeusz still can outrun Hermit, but in practice you will not have so much experience in the map. So yeah, Hermit is one of the best clan units and one of the best mages in game, only losing to Lich in damage and to Vampire in utility. Ah yes, by the way there is still more. With 2 Hermits you can rotate them to the front line, this way effectively doubling their regeneration. Anyway, as an alternative, we have Wolf Lord. His HP stays the same and damage grows only 10 points, but now he can transform into single target warrior Spirit of Fenrir. 275 HP, 90 damage and 65 initiative, but as transformation takes turn, it's simpler to think about the Fenrir as a warrior with 10 initiative. So we have flexibility between bad mage and bad warrior, but wait, there is also more. To level up further, Wolf Lord needs twice as much experience as Hermit, and finally only the base form gets level up, while Fenrir forever remains level 1. So as a result, even against single enemies Hermit is playing better than Wolf Lord. Of course you can use him, but seriously, there is literally zero reason to do it. Instead of normal mages, clans have supports who buff their damage, starting with Tenderfoot with 60 HP, 70 initiative and 25 damage buff. Then Tenderfoot evolves into Catgirl, getting an additional 30 HP and 25 damage. And the thing is, you never go for those 2 units. You ignore support units until you get access to tier 3, where they actually start being worth more than just an additional damage dealer. Finally, Novice has a choice, either to continue as it is and become a druid or swap into alchemist. Druidess gets standard bonuses, on top of it learns how to cure the target and her buff lasts for the entire battle instead of a single attack. Finally, she transforms into Archdruid with another standard stat bonus, reaching 100% buff strength. Alternatively, Alchemist gets the same 30 HP, her initiative drops to 10 and instead of buff she simply gives an additional attack. We'll say it right away, Alchemists need only 300 experience to level up further, so in no time she becomes very durable, making it almost impossible for enemies to bring her down before her turn. Also, she still can be paralyzed. Both types of support are great, but the implications are a bit different. Druids on average are better, as their value grows with every turn. Also in Disciples battle doesn't last that long. Besides, her bonus comes immediately at the start of battle, allowing you to capitalize on it, for example with Son of Emir one-shotting enemy before its turn. And of course in the later game, Hero also will have high initiative. The benefit of Alchemist on the other hand is that first of all you can stack them, taking 2 or 3 and giving all additional turns to your hero. Strong, but quite boring. Another big advantage is that Alchemist can sort of avoid the damage cap. And of course in case of both of them, your prime target is either 2 cell units or your hero, so that you get maximum value from it. In general, the big advantage of clan support is tactical flexibility. For example, you need to eliminate enemy support, you buff Archer. Need more AoE, Hero or Hermit. Need to bring Dragon down, Giant. So in a way, buffers work like a doppelganger, multiplying what you need at the current moment. And here are some other interesting tricks with them. Thanks to high initiative, Druid can occasionally be used as frontliner when your warriors need to regenerate HP. She will press defense before everyone. As for the Alchemist, an additional turn can be used to use defense, hero's equipment or simply shrug off paralyzes. Then goes Dwarven Archer starting with Axe Thrower, who compared to normal Archer trade 20 initiative for 20 additional HP. And this is quite bad, as he's only half as effective against enemy mages, which is Archer's prime job. Also, he's more durable to AoE. On tier 2 he becomes a crossbowman, additional 45 HP and 10 damage. Then here is a choice: continue as an archer and become a Forge Guardian, or turn into another sort of mage, Flame Caster. Forge Guardian gets an additional 45 HP and 30 damage, which is nice. The good thing about him is that under Archdruid's buff he has a threat of 140 damage, which is equal to 2 assassins, but he doesn't care about immunity to poison. Also, assassins scale further a bit better, but you don't need to take 2 archers in your party. Flexibility. But of course 40 initiative kinda sucks for Archer. On the other hand, Flamecaster gets only 20 HP, Fire Ward, 5 additional damage and attacks everyone. He sort of exists as AoE option when you choose the Dwarven Veteran route. But you know, if you really want to use King or Rune Master, it's better to take Lore Master and stack Alchemist instead of Flamecasters. Even compared to Mountaineer, he's kinda bad, having almost half of HP and only 5 damage more. And Mountaineer is itself a bad unit that you must withstand on the road to Hermit. Overall, Clan Archers exist purely as early game option. They are okay when you have access to only tier 3, but after this it's just better to use other units instead. Finally, we have Giants as clan support units. Heal Giant have 210 HP, 60 damage and 30 initiative, which means he doesn't lose damage compared to taking 2 dwarfs instead, which is nice. Also, despite hitting enemies with the tree, it considered an earth element. I believe in the original version it was a physical attack, but it was changed later on. At tier 2 he turns into Rock Giant, getting 100 HP and 30 damage, making him much more durable. Then there is a choice between becoming a mage as Tempest Giant or continue as it is with Frost Giant. Tempest Giant gets only 40 HP, his damage drops to 50, initiative to 20, and now he attacks everyone. And to be honest, Giant mages are quite bad. If you remember when I was talking about Wyvern, I said that the best time for to sell mages is tier 1 and 2, and Giants doesn't have such opportunity. Besides, 20 initiative in his case is much worse than 35 of Wyvern. Overall, it's just better to take 2 Mountaineers instead and rotate them to front line. Then Tempest Giant turns into Elder 1, getting 50 HP and 30 damage. And here things look even worse, because in return you could have 2 Hermits and not even level 4 Hermits but level 5, who are just so much better. So to be honest, there is simply no reason to use Air Giants. You can, but you probably shouldn't. That's kinda the problem of mountain clans. Everything except one unit and support is worse than Hermit. Speaking of which, Ice Giant gets 90 HP, another 30 damage and immunity to water. The last one isn't really useful, as apart from clans only dragons and mermaids use water. Solid unit, but nothing particularly special. Also, as all giants use some sort of elemental damage, they are quite valuable against undead hordes. And finally, at tier 4, Ice Giant turns into Son of Emir, one of the best units in the game overall. Additional 100 HP, 30 damage and another 30 in the form of dot with very high chance to proc. On top of it, his initiative grew to 50, making him one of the fastest clan units, capable of one-shotting enemies before they have chance to act. Clans struggle a bit at the start, but in return they reach maximum power already at tier 4 with Hermit, Son of Emir and Archdruid. Mix those 3 units and you get the strongest clan party. Also, he is sort of mandatory when you play against legions, cause sooner or later you will encounter a town with gargoyle in it, chilling with casual 90 armor, and without frostbite good luck you digging her out. And yes, if you compare him to legions overlords, those despite being 1 tier higher are worse as damage dealers. Also, they stack better and have an edge in terms of HP. Finally, Son of Emir is a unit for taking down capitals, because unlike other factions, clans do it through simply outliving the Guardian. For this, they need stack armor and frostbite dot. The last unit of clans is Yeti, 230 HP, 30 damage to everyone and 40 initiative, which makes Yeti 5 HP damage initiative higher than Wyvern. And as you remember, Wyvern is actually quite good. The reason is why you will not use Yeti is that it costs too much when you already have a studied dwarf for town defense. At the same time, with 700 experience to level up further, Yeti is useless as main army unit. As for magic, clans have one of the best spellbook on average. Movement spells, buffs, great summons, heal, and of course offensive spells. So let's start with Forest Walk and Seafaring, both dirt cheap and eliminate corresponding movement penalty. Thanks to them, clans' footwork and heroes are incredibly mobile. But wait, there is more. Chant of Hasting. Cheap to learn and cheap to cast every round. Restores 100% movement points, effectively doubling your presence on the map. It's so good that you pretty much rush undead if it's presented in a mission, as mana spoils from them will fuel your war machine like nothing else. And more mobility means more presence, which means more mana is even more mobility. Quite snowbally. As for buffs, you're mostly interested in once again very cheap Ice Shield, providing 10 additional armor, which is enormously helps with HP management in early stages. And later on you have its elder brother, Chant of Fortitude. It's expensive but sort of mandatory if you want to seize enemy capitals. The healing spell is also quite expensive to use often, but it occasionally useful. Finally, summons. Rock and Valkyrie are just Skeleton and Nightmare but 25% stronger for the same price. The only sort of disadvantage of clan magic is that you will not have mana for all of this. So unlike with other factions, you need to prioritize spells. In the early stages, Ice Shield is most handy, while later on you switch to Chant of Hasten with occasional Valkyries to maintain control over territories.